You have a large Agile Release Train. You've got multiple teams on this Agile Release Train. Now, we've learned in the last video how to size across our Agile Release Train. But in this video, we are going to look at how and when do we need to standardize our sizing across our different teams. And we're going to look at two very specific models that I personally use in the real world to help to overcome this problem. Hey friends, I'm Ahmed, a skilled Agile and productivity coach based in the UK. And on this channel, we cover productivity, agility, and joy. So this is the 8th video in the PI Planning for Beginners series. And this is the series where I walk you through step by step everything you need to know to run an amazing PI planning event. So let's get stuck into this video. This video is follow on from last week's video where I looked at sizing, and I know I've done it again. I promised you that you would get prioritization. I promise you you're going to get that next week. But I got some comments coming through where there was a request coming through for the standardization, questions around standardization. So I thought it's the right time to cover that. So in this video, we're going to look at what is sizing standardization and why do we need it. Now, what I want to do now in this video is I want to go and I want to give you a very simple example of sizing and why we might need standardization of sizing. So let's just say, for example, you've had enough, right? You said, okay, that's it. I've had enough. I'm quitting my job. You come into business and what you're doing is there's a group of you, your friends, you come and you create a pen manufacturing company. And let's just say for the purposes of this exercise, there are two teams. You form two teams and you're both manufacturing pens. So let's just say we have got a product lineup of 3 pens. So you've got one product, which is what you would call a simple, straightforward, it's just like a biro, right? A straightforward pen over here, right? The next thing you have in the lineup is like a Sharpie kind of a pen. Obviously, you can't call it Sharpie because copyright, all the rest of that, but a Sharpie type of pen, a felt tip, right? And then you have a more complex spring-loaded pen. It's got a logo on top of it as well, and it's a slightly more fancy. So we've got these 3 different products, okay? So now let's have a look at how we, first of all, size them on one team, and let's have a look and see how we could size that on another team. Okay, so let's look at our chart over here behind us that represents our sizing chart over here. So as I said, we've got one basic ballpoint, we've got one Sharpie, and we've got one fancy pen. So let's just say they do sizing using the model that we talked about in the last video. If you've not seen that, please click on the link over here, or the link will be, if you don't find the link over there, if you're on YouTube, then anywhere else you'll find it in the description. So that will teach you different sizing approaches. If we have a look at how we can do our story pointing, we use our 4-point model. We ask what is the complexity, we ask what is the risk associated with that, we ask what is the effort, and we ask what are the dependencies. So that's our CRED model. Do you remember that? And so in that we talk about how much credibility, I know cheesy, how much credibility does your sizing actually have? So that's how I think about it. How much credibility does your sizing have? And therefore from that we have the CRED model. Okay, so let's just say we have this group of people, you've called your team together and you've done a sizing estimate and you're using a Fibonacci sequence. And if you remember, the Fibonacci sequence is 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13. And because we have a pseudo Fibonacci sequence to be more appropriate, we've got 20, 40, and 100. Okay, so a slight variant on the standard Fibonacci sequence. And now when we look at this model over here, what we actually see is that we've got 3 different products that we need to size now. So let's have a look and say this team comes together and what they do is they size the smallest one. And let's just say when they look at the different options that they have in front of them, they decide that of these 3 options, that they say that this one, the basic pen, is the smallest number. Okay, so they say that is the smallest relative size. So let's just say, for argument's sake, that this team selects what they consider to be the basic pen using this sequence over here, and they think that they're going to use that to represent the least complex product that they have. So in this case, they're going to put a 1 size over there. And let's just say, to keep things simple, a Sharpie is, let's just say, twice as complex as that. And maybe the fancy pen is, let's just call that a 5. Okay. So what they've done is they've done the story pointing in the team together, and they all landed on these numbers for these 3 products. Now let's just say, for example, so that's team A. All right. Now let's say see team B. Now they have the same 3 products that they need to deliver, but what they decide to do is they say, you know what, we're not going to start from a 1 as the lowest. We're going to just call it a 3. Okay. So they're going to call it a 3. So they'll call the basic ballpoint a 3, and they say, you know what, we don't think it's a 5, we think it's probably an 8, and they land on an 8. And the fancy pen, let's just say for argument's sake, they land on a 13. Now let's just say both teams actually deliver the same thing, right? So at the end of the sprint, they deliver 1 of each of these 3 pens. Okay, so that is their deliverable after the 2-week iteration. So let's have a look at that. So the first team over here delivers 8 story points, and the second team over here delivers, let's get this right, 24 story points over here. You know, you guys that know me know that maths is not my strong suit, but there you have it anyway. So you've got 8 over here, and you've got 24 over here. Now, what you have is you have a situation where both teams have actually delivered the same number of same output, but actually one team has got an 8 and the other team has got a 24. Now this can cause a number of different challenges. So first of all, as an Agile Release Train, what happens is, how do you add up these to give you a meaningful representation of what the overall Agile Release Train can do, right? You can't really, because they're using different scales. So the other thing is that, and this is an anti-pattern where, you know, executives and other people may say, how many story points did you deliver this sprint, right? And if one team says we delivered 8 and the other team says they're 24, it can give the impression, even though that's not the case and that's not the intent, what it should be used for, it can give the impression of having Team B having 3 times the productivity of Team A. And certainly that's not the case, but it can cause some kind of confusion. So this is the problem that we have. When we have multiple teams, we need to somehow find a way to standardize the overall sizing approach that they use. So I personally use 2 types of approaches over here. One is called standardization by alignment, and the other is standardization by abstraction. So let's have a look at both of these different options to solve this problem. Okay, so the first approach, what I call standardization by alignment, is effectively the standard approach that is used by the Scaled Agile framework, and that's the one that is actually recommended. So let's go through that together. Here we've got our 2 teams. We've got Team A and Team B. So what we want to do is we want to bring them together into a room, and we want to say, guys and gals, we need to align our scale. Okay, we need to create and make sure that we are using the same gauge and we are measuring in the same way. So we bring them together and we show that they obviously know the Fibonacci sequence because they've been using it, but what they need to align on is, what is this called, what is this called, and what is this called. Okay, so the idea is that what we do is that based upon the complexity of the product, so let's say that's the least complex, that's the middle, and that's the most complex. As new product lines come in, they're going to slot in the middle of these different pens, right? And it doesn't matter. I'm giving the example of pens, but it could be used just as equally to software. It could be used to hardware, could be used to solution, could be used to anything, but the idea is, the principle is exactly the same. So let's just have a look at this as an example. So let's just say they come into this room and they say, you know what, we think, we all agree, all of us together, we agree that we should start calling this a 3. Okay, so let's just say we call that a 3. Okay, and they say, you know what, all together we've gone through it again, we think we're going to call this, let's just say, it doesn't matter what the number is, right? It depends, the point is they agree on the gauge together. Let's just say they say, okay, that's 3, that's looking at the complexity, the risk, the effort, dependency, we think this is a 5, okay? All right, if that's a 3, then that is a 5. Okay, and let's just say they say the third one is an 8 in terms of complexity. Now here's the thing, the point is that they have all now aligned on this new reference. Okay, so now what that means is you can add up the numbers, the points that each team does in a meaningful way, and you can now start to extrapolate over across a number of teams across the entire Agile Release Train what the overall size actually is. Okay, so let's look at my preferred approach, the approach that I find the simplest and the easiest and the most cost effective and efficient in terms of sizing across your Agile Release Train, and that is what I call standardization by abstraction or levels of abstraction, right? So if you think about it, we've got stories, we've got features, and if we have got multiple Agile Release Trains or a solution train, we might have capabilities, we might have epics, program epics or portfolio epics, depending upon the size of our construct and the size of our over Agile Release Train or solution train. So now we have these different constructs. So rather than trying to split up, say, a feature into all the different elements and then add them all up to make up the next one, the features, and where they span multiple teams, we have problems over here. What we do is we say over here, we say, you know what? We let the individual teams have their own gauge. We don't care. As long as they remain true to their capacity, they don't overcommit, and they've left the amount of, and they're committing appropriately, we are happy with that. Okay, so let's just have a look and see how that could work. So let's just say, for example, we've got this same example. Let's just take our basic ballpoint, and what we have over here is we've taken the basic ballpoint and it's split out into 4 different stories. Okay, and let's just say that this is split over 2 teams for argument's sake. So let's just say when they size it, this is the team says that this is a 3, this is a 2, this is a 1, this is a 5. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what it is. Now, team B says they can do this, and team A says that they can do this, and is well within their capacity. Okay. But over here, what we do is, so we say, okay, that's absolutely fine. But in this option, what we don't try and do is we don't add these up and give it a feature point over here. Rather, what we do is over here is we say, okay, relative to the other features that I have, what is the size over here, right? So over here we would give feature points. So for example, we may say a basic ballpoint is a 1 feature point, not story point, a feature point. Okay, a Sharpie may be a 3 feature point, right? A fancy pen may be at whatever it is, right? And so what we have is at the story level, at the teams, we have story points. As long as the teams remain within their capacity, we don't worry about having to cross a line that, because we're not adding up the figures now, right? At the feature level, we want to make sure that the gauge is aligned at that level. So we make sure we've got our smaller features at the smaller end of the spectrum and our larger features at the upper end of the spectrum. And similarly, you can do the same approach for your epics or even for your capabilities as well. So this is basically what I call standardization by abstraction. Now, this is very powerful if you think about it. So say, for example, you've got 10 features that come in to your PI planning, and you get those 10 features done, then you can very quickly divide the overall cost of that program increment by the 10 features, and you can work out how much it costs by adding up all of the feature points across those 10 features and dividing that by the overall number. So now you've got a very powerful mechanism to make sure that you don't need to align each and every team, which honestly, I've done it. It's not fun, especially when you've got a large train. And you can still make sure the train remains within the capacity, the teams remain within the capacity. You can work out what the overall cost is across overall Agile Release Train. You can work out the cost per feature point as well, and you end up with a really good solution over here. So there you have it, 2 ways of making sure that you can standardize across your Agile Release Train. The purpose is really, remember, to making sure that we remain within our committed capacity, right? We don't want to go over capacity. And also the other purpose is that we want to make sure that we can understand what the average cost of a feature point or a story point per team actually is, so then we can make an informed decision in terms of the ROI and the benefit versus the cost as well. So I hope that helped, and I hope that clarified this challenge of standardization across the teams for the sizing. And in the next video, I promise this time we really are going to look at prioritization of features, because it is so important to get this really dialed in. I've been seeing a number of examples where there are a number of anti-patterns across different organizations when it comes to prioritization, and a lot of confusion over there. So let's clarify that. Let's get that dialed in as well. So look forward to seeing you on the next video. I hope you found this useful. Till I see you next time, love learning, keep growing, and don't forget to bring the joy, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Thanks very much.